Good day to you all at the AI exhibition. My name is Paul from Accubits. Here is my presentation and thank you for your time. Emotex is one of our flagship products and a solution we are really excited about. It was born in-house at Accubits annual Innovation Challenge. This is a general high-level overview. It is a computer-based real-time video analytics platform for businesses and organizations. It uses artificial intelligence to run analytics and pull up recorded data out of multimedia context. Emotex is a software layer which uses your existing infrastructure. It's an artificial intelligence enabled computer vision platform that is highly scalable, robust, and secure for enterprise grade implementation. A spin-off of Emotex is Searchiv. The software layer allows any corporate establishment to use its existing camera infrastructure. The processing cameras connect using real-time streaming or digital internet protocol camera protocol. To get the video feeds, it does not need to be a CCTV. It can be a webcam, a phone cam. The video feed can even come from recorded or other data video feed sources. I will explain in the next slide. We can look at providing a more personalized customer experience because we now understand the types of people that flow into the venue. We can look at efficient resources management. One of the interesting use cases that had been deployed with ADNEC, which is the Abu Dhabi National Exhibitions Company use case, which looks at what percentage of attendance and interest there had or has been in the area highlighted. In this case, it had reached 75% peak capacity utilization of the washroom facilities. And depending on that, we can now schedule or get on demand greater facility management. We can enhance the security surveillance. As I said, we have a spin-off which is called Searchiv, SEARCHYF, which allows us to search through recorded video footage using tags and labels and just general queries. It is important to note, ladies and gentlemen, that the reason we provide faster processing and compute capabilities is because we use a stack called OpenVINO. OpenVINO, V-I-N-O, as in wine, which basically allows us to convert the whole GPU-based processing to the CPU-based processing, which lowers your cost immensely and gives us huge scalability. So we can literally run most of the compute with a single edge type device, like an Intel NUC on a small mini PC. This has given us 2.5 times greater performance from traditional GPU-based capabilities. We are proud to have been associated with Intel Artificial Intelligence Builders Program. This partnership with Intel has given us scalability to run on a GPU, a graphics processing unit-based data program. So Intel's AI Builder Program is also helping us in the go-to-market strategy and assisting us to connect with different smart cities and with other industries so that we can work together with them. Milestone is another partner that we are working with. Milestone is the largest and preferred video management system globally. What that means is that we are now able to seamlessly integrate into a video management system, which gives us access to recorded video feed, and that can run analytics on top of that too. They are entities that Emotics does. It acquires data from a device or image and video data from devices. It connects with other systems like a BMS system that we apply machine learning tools on top of these to utilize the rich data from these images or videos. Our deep learning models that we have created are therefore able to do other grand tasks that include: number one, people intelligence; number two, vehicle intelligence; three, asset intelligence; and also number four, security and anomaly detection. People intelligence is mainly around analyzing the facial data to recognize the person, that we call that re-identification of that person. So we can also identify the gender, age group, and ethnicity with a higher level of accuracy, somewhere in the vicinity of around 95% accuracy. We can also understand the mood and sentiment of that person from his or her facial data. We can understand certain gestures and looking around at crowd dynamics, including people tracking, people counting, and generally heat mapping at that venue. The next step is vehicle intelligence. What we mean by this is the ability to recognize the type, the count of, and basically track all number of vehicles. We can also do ANPR, which is automatic number plate recognition. The camera also has infrared capabilities as well to read the number plate or registration plate during the night. For the best ANPR camera performance experience, the vehicle ideally should be traveling at less than 40 kilometers an hour. This is basically a limiting factor because the number of slides per second that we can film accurately. Emotics can pre-process a lot of these video images. So even if the car or vehicle is going at higher speed, we can pre-process that information too. The other use case is open parking detection, especially in open streets. We can, with a single camera connected to the side of a building overlooking the street, can count the number of open parking lots in a space and feed this data into a signboard on the streets, saying that these number of parking lots are available. We can also use it for asset intelligence. We can identify products or objects. This is especially useful in a retail environment. So if you're familiar with the concept of a planogram, which is basically the positioning of products within our retail environment and designed on directional people flow, even on a shelf rack, how products are placed, which products go on top of others, which products go in the middle, and also based on customer or consumer behavior. So we can use the Emotics to identify what products are being picked up by what consumer groups as people venture past. Now let's talk about anomalies. The next two things is security and anomaly detection. These two have an overlap. So if you look at security intelligence, some of these extreme events are also irregular. What do we mean by an extreme event? This is an abnormal event in a normal scenario, like an explosion, a car accident, violent behavior, or a shooting. These are extreme events, also known as anomalies. You can identify if there's unattended baggage in an open area, if there's a hazard, or if someone is littering, an unauthorized entry into a secured area, pilfering, a retail environment, people in distress, missing persons search. Because we have the facial recognition capabilities, if you have also have a list of identities, we can identify that person or persons and can come up from those lists. You know, one company that spent nearly $3 million on a network cabling and infrastructure for an outdoors event found that if they used emotics, they could have literally saved much of that amount. With our partnership at Intel, having worked on OpenVino, we are able to build this at scale. So now there are more than 240 plus cameras, including specific cameras at the entrances to look at facial data. And we also already have integrated milestones, expert tech systems such as BMS. So we have capabilities to extract recorded video as well as additional to the live video feeds that is coming out. And we're able to give them deeper insights, not just in terms of people flow. We can tell them exactly how many people are inside a venue at any given point in time. We can give them a heat map analysis over the past 24 hours. We can link that data into events and tell them, you know, which event has generated more football, for example, and what time do people normally come into the venues. So this is a screen grab from the live dashboard that was deployed there. So this is a live football management dashboard. You can see there is a map view. We also show you where people are with the help of, you know, markers. And we show how people are flowing inside the venue across timelines. There are also various visitor insights, and we can show parameters like gender, ethnicity, and age group. So there are a specific set of slides which talk about the benefits for various use cases as well. With this slide, we will also be able to share it with you. Crowd analytics are used in several environments. Let's say a sports venue. We can count the people entering from whichever entrance they arrive, monitor their clothing or whatever they are wearing, say branding of a particular product that they may be wearing, or a handbag or purse that they may be carrying, analyze their behavior, and in retail environments too. In one case, we have basically looked at one entrance, right? And we're looking at the bottom left corner. You will see the entry and exit cards. What we've also now been able to do is to zone in within a single frame, multiple entrances and exits. It's well done that with one or two. And so most malls or shopping centers, you have only one entrance and one exit alone. We're also able to zone back to figure that and how many people are coming in from multiple zones as well. The same is also for other in retail environments, usually the cash tills. Not every cash till or counter is manned. So if we can count the number of people queuing up in the queue, count as it increases, we can immediately send a notice or an alert to the line manager to send somebody else to open up another counter. This is mask detection, and this has been a good user case. We've also been able to run this mask detection module on the edge, which is an Android phone. Ultimately, the data that you see on the video is great, but it needs to be shown in some sort of a report or an alert. So this is where we are trying to provide a pre-built dashboard for various industries. We're now currently focused on, say, retail industries. We're now working with a couple of retail groups to understand what is the pain point, what are their challenges they're facing, to create a dashboard that's specifically meant for them. And our goal is to work with multiple industries and understand what would be the meaning for them. So we're trying to create specific dashboards for various industries. We're starting with retail for now as an example. These reports can be customized to include any type of data you may be looking for. And in some cases, we've used tools like Power BI, Power Business Intelligence, to actually generate the reports that they are looking for. Or we can create your own dashboard. We can convert passive infrastructure into active infrastructure. There are AI-enabled cameras available today, large Hikvision, that come enabled with some AI capabilities. We're able to connect the software into an existing infrastructure or camera or recorded video feed infrastructure. We can also integrate with third-party systems like CRM or ERPS to derive better value. So as it is said, this is able to provide on-demand video analytics. It's multi-camera combined surveillance. It's not just one camera alone. We can track a behavior across a network of cameras. We can identify a person across a network of cameras. We can track the journey of a person through a venue, such as an airport, so that it allows deeper penetration insights on customer analytics and tracking. In terms of user cases, there are some that we've looked at in the light of COVID-19, which is person-to-person monitoring, identifying PPE kits, tracking heat zone mapping, and or behavioral analytical body messages. Artificial intelligence typically works on a probability. What we are saying with confidence of maybe between 80 and 90% that this event happening that we are focusing on is, for example, one of robbery. Whenever there's a threshold which exceeds, you can define that typically in terms of probability in most scenarios. That's where we trigger an alert. So for example, if it's in a robbery, then we have certain sort of triggers, like to call the police or security and to notify those authorities affiliated. We can also look at providing a more personalized customer experience, because we know and understand the kinds of people that flow into your venue. We can look at efficient resourcing management. One of the interesting user cases that has been deployed within the next case is to look at the percentage of those certain facilities that are being used. So for example, if a facility like a washroom that reaches 75% peak capacity utilization of an air track, or as you know, in this case, a washroom, depending on that, we can now schedule to get on-demand facility management and also enhance the security surveillance, which is a spin-off called Searchiv, which allows us to search through recorded video footage using general tags and labels, just as a general query. Traffic analytics can take various forms. Identifying the types of vehicles, the number of vehicles, direction of traveling in real time to predict its monitoring for analysis. We are proud to have been associated with Intel AI Builders Program. And the relationship with Intel has literally given us much scalability. AI-based solutions generally run on GPU, which is graphics process unit, for rendering the images onto a screen. This is the reason we have faster processing and compute capabilities. And with, as I mentioned before, OpenVINO, it allows us to transfer or convert complex Java processing to CPU-based processing, which lowers the cost and gives us huge computation scalability. Another example and user case is Nissan, the car manufacturer, which we were able to launch a new model car at an exhibition center. With cameras, they watched potential customer reactions, such as their satisfaction time. They observed, looking at the vehicle, their facial expressions, etc., which are all genuine, involuntary responses. One client used our solution for managing his petrol or gas stations. What type of vehicles, comparisons, such as those coming in and commercial versus private vehicles using the petrol station, heavy and light duty vehicles, etc. In terms of our product partnership for this product, the benefits to highlight, we're talking about the ability to detect in real time a certain event and look at associated actionable activities. Identifying these events is great, but we need to trigger an alert on to give value to the businesses, and that's where this becomes really useful. So this is a general high-level workflow. What we do is acquire data that can come from video feeds or other data sources. We infer that using our models, we visualize that in some sort of infographic, we provide that to a dashboard. So the last bit, which is the consumption of visual dashboards. It is not an off-the-shelf solution. We customize that based on every single requirement that you need, and these are unique. We don't have a standard dashboard as yet. We are trying to work on the niche verticals and trying to create some templated dashboards that we will create. The main industries that we've seen application for it include retail, education, automotive events, and conferences. There are user cases in supply chain logistics, public services, security, and healthcare as well. However, we are seeing less of that because it comes with an understanding. The industry needs to be trained and educated on the capabilities and the viability of the solutions as well. So it is a slow process, but they're also adopting these technologies now. There are specific slides which talk about these, and for each of these sectors. We'll probably come back to that later. Again, when it comes to anomalies, we can detect management, manufacturing plants, and also looking at health and safety compliance and user cases. For example, in manufacturing with medicinal tablets, there is a defect in a tablet on the conveyor belt. It can be detected. On construction sites, where people are supposed to be wearing protective helmets or high-vis vests, we can identify the correct color being worn. This is identifiable in terms of location and in what he or she is wearing in terms of the correct equipment. This can facilitate workmen, insurance compensation, which is another sector, and compliance. This can even be done with aerial drones. These days, in the light of COVID, we have looked at certain other user cases, such as social distancing being 1.5 meters apart at workplaces, or enhancing the capabilities of those thermal readers by a standard deviation of less than 2%, and also for temperature detection as well. Retail sector real-time intelligence is huge. We can monitor human traffic with an infrared heat map, possibly human or other theft, misconduct, and tracking their movements. We're working with Milestone, the largest and preferred video management system globally. This means we're able to seamlessly integrate into a video management system, which gives us access to recorded video feeds. We can run analytics on top of that. So if you look at any operational security and surveillance operation in a retail operation, it will give you increased value of the images and data analytics you are viewing with machine learning and deep learning methodologies that we are pre-trained and have created. This gives us what we referred to earlier, being the modules of people intelligence, vehicle intelligence, asset intelligence, security and anomaly detection. So people intelligence of mainly around analyzing the facial data to recognize the person. We can call that as re-identification of that person. We are also able to identify his or her gender, age group, and ethnicity with a high level of accuracy of around 95%. We can also understand their mood and sentiment of that person purely from the facial data. We can understand certain gestures, look at crowd dynamics, including people tracking, counting, and through heat mapping. We're also working with the university, which is the SP Jain. It is a renowned global school of management across 3 cities, Sydney, Singapore, and Dubai, for attendance management within classrooms. We can have a dome camera and a pan-tilt zoom camera. The challenge in a classroom environment is that during a session, students don't necessarily look at the camera, but focus on the tutor or on their notes or laptops or notebooks. So what we've done is we've connected this to a pan-tilt zoom camera, and we're scanning across the room at different times during a particular session. So we can track their identities. We can link that to a student information system and say this person was in the class during that time. For remote education, the tutors may want to know if they are paying attention. So we can give attentive a score for this as well. Thank you for your time today, ladies and gentlemen. And if there are any questions, please go through to the Q&A lounge and submit your questions. I am contactable on any of the above addresses. Thank you.